The reason that I love RC cars and this hobby is that there's tons of cars out there tucked away in someone's garage from the 70s, 80s, or 90s that are just waiting for someone to pick them up. And that's what we have right here with this SG Coyote that I just picked up. We're gonna unbox it together and we're gonna go over some of its unique history from Europe racing, believe it or not. So stick around and stay tuned. Now, one thing that I love about this thing, you guys probably like as well, is check out the old vintage lettering from the 80s on this thing. On the front we got the car, the box art is amazing, the decals sort of remind me of 80s Formula 1 from back in the day, so we got a cool little vintage feel from this. Obviously this is from the 80s, so it's gonna have that look, but that's one thing that kind of got my eye from this right out of the box when I found it. Now, all the manuals are written in Italian. They have some English translations, but on some of these it's not translated, so good luck trying to translate these things. But yeah, this thing is from Europe. This thing comes from Italy, so that's one of the reasons why I picked it up. It's got such a unique history. Let's go ahead and have a look at the car, shall we? So here we have the car in front of us. If you're expecting me to run this thing, well, you're out of luck and I'm also out of luck as well. The spur and pinion look like they're made out of Swiss cheese, cheddar cheese. They're ready to disintegrate, so unfortunately for us, not gonna be running this thing. I'm also missing some few parts up front, so we'll run this thing later, but I just wanted to show you guys how cool this was before we even get to that, so let's dive right in. Now, if you guys weren't sure what the front was, well, it's right here with this bumper. Let me put the body on real quick. It's pretty much a wire mess right now, but that's what you can expect from a car from the 80s that had the old electronic speed controllers, and it looks like it has obviously two servos, one for the steering and then one for the speed controller. So yeah, a lot going on underneath, so let me just take this off again. Here's the back, here's our transmission. Now, one thing about this car is that it is two-wheel drive and it came in a four-wheel drive variation. So if I quickly show you guys the front, there's also a transmission up front. So basically, I have the capability to turn this into a four-wheel drive car. So if I can find the drive shaft that runs through the middle or kind of make my own, then I can turn this into a four-wheel drive car. Also, I'll need to have some little drive shafts right here connecting to the front tires, so this definitely has some potential. I also forgot to mention, if I bring up the box real quick, you can see Coyote two-wheel drive. Closer look shows that we're supposed to have these gold shocks and these black wheels and no wing, but my car didn't come with that. I actually have the wing. It looks like I have the front and rear differential or transmission, so I definitely have the four-wheel drive variation, which looks to me doesn't come with those gold shocks or those black wheels, so that's kind of a bummer for me. A closer look at the chassis layout, and you can see it's basically made up of these two little metal side rails, and down inside a little plastic transparent piece to hold everything together. Definitely a cool design. You can see how everything is mounted. The little battery kind of mounts right here, and you know, the steering linkages over here, so definitely a cool chassis design. Another cool part of the design is how the batteries are mounted. You can see these two black clips over here. Basically it had a saddle pack battery configuration, so one over here, one over here. Funnily enough, the previous owner, on the back you can see there's a clip missing. Previous owner was using these grocery bag closers to hold it in place on this side, and then you can see a little zip tie over here to hold the other battery in place on this side. So that's pretty funny, but unique part of the design from way back in the 80s. Another cool thing is the suspension. I mean, look at the shocks and how they're mounted. They're almost, I guess, 90-degree angle compared to the chassis, and even in the back over here, look how much flex these things have. Something you don't see a lot of these days, especially in the back over here. Usually they're pretty much standing straight up, so even though it had this unique design, it wasn't a slouch when it was racing back then in the 80s in the European Championships. I have a couple of screenshots that I can put of some of these extremely modified SG Coyotes, two-wheel drives, four-wheel drive variations. You can see that this was constantly placing high the spec sheets of what people were running back then, what tires, what motors, and what exactly they were taking this simple thing and basically turning it into a racing monster back then. Definitely not a car I want to ruin. It's very rare, so we'll see what I can come up with this. If you've ever heard of the SG Coyote, leave a comment down below. If you have an idea of what I should do with this, leave a comment down below as well. If you guys liked it, leave a comment down below. But definitely, we're gonna get some parts for this thing, paint it up a little bit. Been practicing a lot from my days with the Grasshopper and my days with this old Kyosho Raider. So I've been improving. We're gonna paint this up real nice. I don't know if we'll paint it up like the box art because the decals, it's pretty hard to come by. Stick around because there's other videos waiting for you, like the Grasshopper playlist and the Kyosho Raider playlist. Thanks for watching.